Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
Everything is bigger in Texas. That goes for the track, that goes for the race distance. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hooters 250 here at the Texas Motor Speedway for round number, yes, on the ISCA Stock Car Association of the Super Cup Series season. We get set to kick off the round of 4 here at the Texas Motor Speedway. My name is Ola Rempo. I got Brian Britt beside me in the broadcast booth. Rob Mellick down behind the cameras for tonight's race. Apologies that we are a little bit late to the party here. Had a little bit of technical difficulties trying to get tonight's race sorted. But, Brian, we still got a little bit of time here. So, real quick, what's your thoughts on what we might expect for tonight's race before we go into that starting grid?
Oh, it's definitely going to be difficult. 1 and 2, it's going to be real hard. But, you know, I think it's going to be some exciting racing here. A lot of playoff potential here tonight.
A lot of playoff potential indeed. We'll get into that in just a moment. But for now, let's run through your ButtKicker starting grid for the Hooters 250 at the Texas Motor Speedway. It's Noah Bitts taking pole position with the 29.024. Justin Levine lines it up beside him on the front row. Josh Hoffman eliminated from the round of 6 just last round. What was he starting in 3rd place with Clayton Hoffman in 4th? David Phillips II is in 5th with Josh Ward down in 6th. That leaves Jeff Chandler in 7th. Corey Cook in 8th. Travis Manning is in 9th with Al Kozlowski rounding out the top 10.
Playoff driver Kyle Labrie going to be starting in 11th, followed by another playoff driver, Brian Johnson, the 4-car in 12th. 13th, Jeffrey Souza. 14th is Wayne Grossi. 15th, John Mullen. 16th, Mark Sanchez. The 17th position, Jarrett Phillips. 18th, Troy Torgerson. 19th, Craig Johnson. And 20th, rounding out the top 20, of course, is Paul Smollenberg.
And that is going to leave Kenny Powell down to 21st place, the last driver to set in time. Followed up, you have John Ballou, Roy Hyde, Brian Littleton, Randy Drumhiller, and Paul Regney to round out tonight's 26-car field. Get it set to duke it out for 250 miles and 167 laps. So 4 drivers enter today with the points once again reset in the championship. Kyle Labrie is going to be one of those playoff drivers to look out for tonight, as well as Justin Levine, Josh Shovner, and Brian Johnson. Kenny Powell, and Boyd Hogan was Kenny Powell that was eliminated just last round, with Boyd Hogan taking his victory over at the, at the Charlotte Roval just last lap by. Josh Schaffner was the other driver that was eliminated. So you've got Levine, Hogan, Johnson, and Labrie. Boyd Hogan, though, not present here tonight. He'll be starting this playoff round on the back foot.
Yeah, we can't ever count him out, even if that's the case. I mean, we know he's capable of coming here and winning a race. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, though. But for right now, yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, we got some playoff battling afoot here between three drivers. Like you said, Kyle Labrie, Brian Johnson, I mean, Justin Levine. I mean, those are all three great drivers. I can't wait to see what they got out for, or what they have in store for us here tonight.
So coming around through turns 3 and 4, the high banks of the Texas Motor Speedway, we get set to duke it out for 250 miles. Track temp, 84 degrees. In the air, it's 69 degrees. Winds 2 miles an hour. 39% humidity in the air. Perfect day to go racing here in Texas. Time, just 10 minutes up to the top of the hour, which will be 3 p.m. in Sim. Pace car down to pit road. And it'll be Noah Bitts to lead us off to the green. Just wait now on that iRacing starter to get this race underway. And that green flag drops, and Noah Bitts launches. We are underway for the Hooters 250 at Texas.
Yeah, what a great launch from everybody out there. I mean, Noah really didn't get that too crazy of a run to get away from these guys. I mean, Justin Levine already hounded him on the top side drafting him there into 1 and 2.
And way up the track, deeper in the field, you had seen Josh Ward getting muscled out of line. They're 3 wide behind them and still side by side for the race lead down in the turns 3 and 4. And it looks like Levine will be working to pull that top line. Bit of a bobble, though, for the 19 car mid-corner. That gives a slight advantage to Noah Bitts, but it is still a dead heat down the front straightaway with just 17 thou separating them at the line.
Yeah, and one of the really championship favorites was going to be Clayton Hoffman, but, of course, one race didn't go his way. I'd love to have him pushing me if I was Levine, and it's looking very like it's going to work out for him here. So Levine surges to the front, able to get down low into 3 and 4.
Now that Justin Levine's out there, he should be able to start to pull away a little bit here. Clayton Hoffman working as well behind him, trying to work that top side and open up the outside groove. Looks like he's going to have to tuck back in line, though. And just behind, you see Jeff Chandler, a driver we haven't seen too much all season, running the Abruzzi colors as well as the breast cancer awareness colors on the front of his number 20 frontline machine.
Yeah, I love to see all these pink cars. What a great charity that is, and what a problem that a lot of people deal with. I mean, I think a lot of our mothers and stuff like that have dealt with that, so I definitely feel a big, that's a good thing to represent out there.
So single filed out all the way back until about the 12th position on the track, with Josh Ward and Kozlowski going side by side. Further up the track, David Phillips II getting muscled out of line. He'll lose the spot to John Mullins if he can't get the run out of turn 2. Further up front, Jeff Chandler looks to be making some moves. He dives on the inside of Clayton Hoffman. The 92 G&G driver going to let him take that one.
Yeah, one thing about this place is, it does not, you don't really get rewarded for aggressiveness very much. So I'm wondering if some of these guys maybe are hurting their tires a little too early here. I mean, one thing I've always kind of said and known is that the first 5 laps are detrimental to the rest of your run, and I think that's definitely true here.
Already coming to 5 laps complete in this race. The laps tick by quick. And even still, it is a long way to go. 162 laps still left on the clock. The field going to finally get fully single-filed out for the first time all race long. 5 laps in. And you wonder just how cautious these drivers are going to be in the early run. Now, it is worth noting, as always, you've got the stages. But the stages this time around, they don't come out for a while. Lap 50 is the first stage. The fuel window, though, Brian, only about 46 laps. So for the first time all season long, we're going to be seeing the fuel stops potentially under the green flag conditions for these stages here.
That is crazy to think about. I mean, wow. Not a long way these guys can go here. Not a very good fuel economy for sure. And that's going to really throw a wedge into this race here. And curious what the strategy is going to be. I mean, do you pit on the halfway, or do you just go in and take some, quick pit stop, take just gas, and maybe try to make it to the end of the stage so you can get tires there?
You saw Jeff Chandler wash up a little bit. Got into with Clayton Hoffman over in 1 and 2. Chandler got back into it, though. And no hard feelings between the front line and the G&G crews for the time being. Going to tuck in with his teammate, Kyle Labrie. Corey Cook sitting just behind down in 8th place. John Mullins 9th. David Phillips 2nd all the way down in P at number 10. And just outside of the top 10, Al Kozlowski washing up a little bit, trying to gain some time with Jeffrey Souza, who's under attack from Brian Johnson in the battle for 12.
Yeah, Brian Johnson is definitely going to be one to watch during this whole entire race. That 4-car is a playoff driver and has looked strong all season long. He's definitely not going to want to be slacking here. This is a very important race for that team.
It's extremely important, especially when you take into consideration that I do believe he is the only G&G driver that is actually in contention to get a race win. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure just about everybody here has, just themselves in their own team, except for Frontline, which has a pair of drivers, Labrie and Levine, to work with. So Legacy's got one, G&G's got one, Frontline still has two in the running order. Wouldn't it be great for the Frontline crew if they could get both of those drivers to move on to that crucial championship round where only two drivers can duke it out for a title?
I mean, that's like Hendrick. They got two drivers going to be in the playoffs probably. I mean, these guys are definitely putting it on the line here. And, speaking, we talk about that 9-car. I mean, Calabrese doing pretty good right now. He's going to pick up some state points if he stay where he's at. But that pit stop is going to throw a wrench in everything here. I mean, that is going to really complicate things a lot. And I'm sure all the crews out there are doing a lot of calculations, figuring out what the right call is going to be. I mean, this place is known for burning some tires up. I mean, we could already see the fall off already, upwards of 4 or 5 tenths.
Travis Manning going to make up a spot on Josh Schaffner in the 50 car. Gets clear out of turn number 1. I wonder if Josh Schaffner is going to try to maybe get a run back into 3. Opt's not going to go for it. Clayton Hoffman, though, waiting in the wings. Josh Schaffner was looking good to potentially be able to get past Kyle Labrie in the championship wins after Labrie had a horrible time at the Charlotte Roval just last week, but didn't manage to get there, and that, of course, meant that Boyd Hogan, with his victory, bumped him out.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate for him. I mean, Schaffner has proved a lot. I mean, he's very quick. He's definitely done some really good work, and just unfortunate. I mean, but, that's one thing you got to take in life. You got to use it as like a learning experience. Go into next season and be ready for that. Take that momentum that you've gained and the knowledge you've gained over this season and really get there. And Travis Manning really starting to hound Noah Bitts here for second.
And going to have a look down at the inside line for P2. Noah Bitts can't really fight that one out. The Budweiser Camaro going to tuck back in line. Kind of went a little bit wide in turn 1. I think he saw Travis Manning coming, decided not to fight for it too much. So that, for the moment, makes it the front line, 1-2.
Yeah, I think all these non-playoff drivers are really just having in mind that, I just need to finish this race or put myself in the best position to win it. Winning stages is not going to help me at all. I mean, I want to win a race and have that honor. Definitely what a great race this has been thus far. And one thing about Texas that a lot of people don't realize when you're watching it from up here, I mean, when you're down there in the trenches here driving this race car, 3 and 4, a lot like what you see at normal mile and a half, but 1 and 2 really throws off your rhythm, wouldn't you say, Nolan?
I can certainly agree. Not only is it a much wider corner, there's also less bang, so you have to, kind of swing into it a bit slower and a bit wider if you want to carry proper momentum off. It makes it a bit of a difficult corner to complete passes in. One driver that has experienced this right now is John Mullins, who has been side-by-side with Jeff Chandler for an entire lap now, trying to complete the pass out of turn 2. But Chandler just able to carry the momentum out of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. So Chandler maintains 8th for now, but you can see this is where John Mullins is better, is on that bottom side, all the way through 3 and 4, where he can carry a lot more speed around the bottom.
100%. I mean, as soon as they get into 1 and 2, I mean, because of how different that corner is, how wide it is, it's so hard for that bottom line to get a run off that corner, especially not being able to use the whole racetrack. I mean, of course, racing normally, you want to really widen out the racetrack to use as much as you can, but Mullins was able to be more successful through that corner, as now David Phillips is side-by-side with Chandler.
It's back up to about 155 miles an hour at the moment in turns 1 and 2, only 165 for turns 3 and 4, really showing just kind of where that is at. The battle could be on for the race lead here in just a moment. Travis Manning has run down Justin Levine, his frontline teammate. Back it off a little bit in 1 and 2. I wonder if he's going to try to set up a run for 3.
Yeah, I don't even think Levine will be too mad about this if Travis is able to get by. I mean, Travis is not in the running for the championship right now, so I mean, if Justin finishes behind him, it's not going to hurt him that badly.
Well, that being said, he does certainly want to get a race win here. Stage wins don't necessarily matter, but the race win, that secures you into that next round. So that is the very crucial factor here. If there are 2 different playoff drivers getting race wins, we don't even need to go to the points eliminations. We already know who's going to be duking it out in the last race of the season over at Phoenix.
100%. And speaking about another playoff driver here, Kyle Labrie trying to get around Josh Schaffner here, trying to take over 5th, and I think he does it. He is scored in 5th right now, but Schaffner's starting to get a run on the top.
Pushing wide, though, for the 50. Labrie going to crowd him up towards that wall out of turn 4. I think Labrie just barely ahead of the line. And in fact, he was, but it was not by much. Less than 100th of a second separated them at the line. But Labrie is going to pull ahead, and he'll secure P number 5 for the time being up in, actually coming out of turn 2 there.
I'm really curious how these pit stops are going to look here. I mean, we really don't ever see these guys have to make a pit stop in this first stage here. I mean, are some guys going to try to chance it and save enough gas? I just don't think you can save that much.
You can save maybe a lap or two. You can't save more than 5 laps, though, not unless you're seriously backing off pace to the point where you're not going to be gaining anything from it. It's best to just kind of run it out and maybe come on in. Now, we are within that pit window where people could come down right now if they wanted to. They'd be safe to go to the end. But the question is, when do you want to bring that in? I wonder if a lot of these guys are going to stretch this out as long as they can and hope for potential caution. It is worth noting as well that if the caution comes out on lap 46 or later, then the stage ends under that yellow flag. And that would be right around that fuel window. That would be a perfect situation for them.
Yeah, definitely would. Well, somebody who is taking their chances here, gambling a little bit here at Texas, is Jeff Chandler. He just took his pit stop now, 1 lap down, now 2 laps down.
Interesting. So Chandler down pit road. And he's not even in the race car. He's been in there for quite a while now. In fact, we'll talk about over a minute. There. Yeah, so problems
got caught speeding.
It's probably not that far off. We'll take a look at it now further back, and I can't say for sure. Actually, no, you're right. It was speeding. The speed limit, 45 miles an hour. He was going 47 for a good portion down pit road there. So it was a speeding penalty that has left Jeff Chandler in pit road, and I think he's thrown in the towel.
That is unfortunate for sure, but I mean, I can't really blame him too much. Nothing really on the line for him. But still, I think he should wait it out. I mean, there's a lot of stages. There could be cautions. I mean, he could have got back into this thing, got a learning experience from it. So, I don't know. But one real big battle right now going on back here, 8th place, or for actually 7th place, as we see Corey Cook, John Mullins, and John Ballew all kind of fighting it out back here. David Phillips kind of a spectator.
See Corey Cook watching a little bit wide out of 3 and 4. That gives a bit of a run to John Mullins. How about Ballew, though? Looking for the outside line entering turn 1. John Mullins going to take the inside line away from Corey Cook, but he's forced to check up. And look at how much that stacks up that inside line. That allows Phillips to set to close it a bit more. And how about Troy Torgerson also working his way up into the fray? Started 18th place. He is now all the way up to P11. Side by side, meanwhile, up in front with Cook and Mullins.
Yeah, I think we're really starting to see the tires start to come into play here. I mean, look at the fall off we've seen already. 31-second laps throughout pretty much the whole field here. Crazy to see that much kind of fall off within 25 laps.
And just to put that into perspective for the folks at home, that is 2 seconds slower than the fastest qualifying laps that we received being said. So it goes to show just how severe the tire drop can really be here. John Mullins gets clear. Corey Cook having to fight it out with John Ballew now into 3 and 4, but Ballew with that inside line. I've talked about it already. We'll come back to talk about it again. Big slide for Ballew out of turn 4. He manages to hang on to that one, but you're able to carry so much more momentum that even with that slide, Ballew still gains some ground up on Corey Cook on corner exit.
Yeah, that's not going to do any favors for his tires, though. I mean, anytime you slide it at all is going to heat those tires up, and it's so hard to get that temperature back down again. That's why I kind of feel like, lap 26 right now, I feel like maybe now would be the time to pit. I mean, that's what kind of makes it worth it to maybe pit for tires here in the middle of the stage.
See John Ballew working on John Mullins again. The battle for 7th really starting to pick up. Everybody in front has been able to pull away. And all this battle is allowing guys further behind to close it. You look back to Brian Johnston and Grossi, who are looking to potentially work their way up into the fray as well, while Mullins still fighting the outside line away from John Ballew. Ballew clears, kind of chops the nose on John Mullins. He'll move his way back up into 7th place, but you wonder how long he's going to be in that position for.
Yeah, that's one thing about, when these guys start, racing each other really hard, it complicates things a lot. I mean, you think, okay, we're just racing with each other, but no, you're allowing those guys behind to start to catch up. I mean, just like you mentioned, and that complicates things even further as we're starting to kind of form a little bit of a pack here. One thing we kind of missed, I was keeping an eye on here, Clayton Hoffman has managed to take third away from Noah Bitts.
In fact, he has. Hoffman has moved his way up to P3. That was some time ago. Quite a few laps ago, actually. We were probably still focusing on the speeding penalty while all of that was going down.
100%. I mean, we had a lot going on, but definitely. I mean, but wow, what a race it's been. I mean, hard to keep track of everything that's going on out there.
And you just saw Brian Johnson try to dive one up the inside of David Phillips the second. Further up front, Corey Cook into the outside wall. Has to bounce back. Torgerson goes evasive. Corey Cook keeps it of everybody else. Here comes Brian Johnson with the head of steam to the 4 car. Sends one up the inside of Corey Cook into turns 3 and 4. And that was a result of Corey Cook just pushing too hard to try to hold on to the spot. Up in the top 10 out of turn 2. Pushed wide into the wall. He's now down in the 11th.
Yeah, I think that really helped out Brian Johnson quite a bit. I mean, he was racing with David Phillips, and because Corey Cook was up in David Phillips's line, it really checked him up and allowed Johnson to rocket right on by. And that's going to help his playoff position here, considering top 10. I mean, that's going to be a points-paying position there if he can stay there, considering we're not going to make it on gas here. I mean, that's going to change everything depending on what you do on pit road.
Wayne Grossi thinking about making the move on Corey Cook, is going to make the move on Corey Cook. Down into turn number 1. Cook stays wide. They're trying to carry some of that momentum around the corner. He's got to be careful, though. Remember what happened the last time he pushed this wide out of turn 2. This time, though, keeps it off the wall. David Phillips the second try to get a run, but 89 car just didn't have the speed to make that lunge into 3.
Yeah, I think Corey Cook is having a lot of tire issues. So, yeah, look at that. Huge wiggle off the race corner. Oh, into the grass a little bit there. David Phillips is able to get by along with Brian Littleton. I think he is suffering for some major handling conditions. Want to make some adjustments to that race car, maybe even to make some adjustments to his driving, considering this track, just tears you apart if you're not hitting it right.
Talk about a reverse pass of the grass, though. You've seen the guys try to make the passes through that dog leg. Well, he lost one through that dog leg, and he called it right. Just stepped the back end out of turn number 4, and that was all she wrote. Good job on hanging on to it, though, all things considered. But that puts Corey Cook down at 14th now, well out of reach of the stage points. But at this point, they're a couple of seconds up the road from him. And
you mentioned about that 98, Troy Torgerson. Look at him now trying to capture 8th away from John Mullins. And he does it, it looks like. I mean, we'll have to wait and see if he's able to complete this pass. But, I mean, he started in 18th, he said. Look at this guy, one of the biggest movers here tonight.
Well, look at the run that Mullins had, though. Got right up by the wall out of turn 4. He'll pull just a bit barely ahead by the time they get back around for 1. But that inside line still where you want to be in turns 1 and 2. So Torgerson going to make his way up and will secure P8 for the time being. And John Mullins going to tuck in line. He'll settle down in 9th place. He got less than 20 laps to go before the conclusion of stage number 1. There's still been no change with the 2 frontline teammates who have just blitzed away from the rest of the field. They are still running 1-2. There's still been no move, and I have a feeling this is what we can expect from the frontline crew. While you might have guys that are faster, they're also going to do everything they can to make sure that Justin Levine and Kyle Labrie, it's going to be one of those 2 drivers getting a race win if it's frontline up in front controlling the race.
100%. I mean, those guys, I think that's Justin Levine and Travis kind of have like a pact going on because they're definitely helping each other try to separate here from Clayton Hoffman. And Labrie also very strong right now. Up in 4th, going to be some valuable stage points if he can stay up here. So Brian Johnson really is in a mad dash right now. He has to do something to really catch up here. And look at that huge run up to John Mullins here from Brian Johnson.
Closed right up for 1 and 2, but just didn't have the line to seal the deal. John Mullins just kind of covered him up. Brian Johnson was forced to back out, but that 4 car, he's looking a bit feisty here. So if he decides to get a little bit more antsy and get a little bit more aggressive with these moves, he could very easily take that position away coming on into this turn 1 here, but he's not going to get close enough to make that run.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate, but I mean, definitely going to have some chances to get back at it. I mean, considering tires are so worn right now, I mean, I'm surprised that no one has pitted yet. I mean, what do you think the call is on this? I mean, I think the majority of people seem like they're staying out, maybe running the tank, low.
Well, you say that, Jeffrey Souza actually has come into pit. He pitted about coming to 3 laps ago now. So the 14 car did come down, but it was not for tires. Fuel only stopped for the number 14 machine. It was only in the pits for about 6.6 seconds. I was just taking enough fuel that he could get to the end of stage number 1, which is probably where he's going to find himself taking tires under the caution flag, where you're likely to lose a little bit less time. So Souza's now the lucky dog driver, just 1 lap down, opposed to the 18 that Chandler now is. And he's just going to be biding his time here because he knows that everybody in front of him still has to make a stop yet.
Yeah, I mean, definitely very difficult to get on and off pit road on these old tires like this. And, coming out there, I mean, usually when you pit, you expect the car to handle a lot better. But because of him putting a fuel load in that car, I don't know. I mean, it could handle a lot different for him. We'll have to wait and see if that's a really good strategy. Depends on what everybody else does here. I mean, if he's taking just gas, I think about everybody's just going to end up taking gas. Because, I mean, you wouldn't go this long if you were actually going to take tires.
So we look back to the battle now for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. With Brian Johnson, John Mullins, Wayne Grossi, Dave Phillips II, and Brian Littleton. Caution flies! And it's a mess, it looks like, in turns 3 and 4 from the looks of things. We'll try to see if we can figure out exactly what it was. It was Jared Phillips in the 77 car getting spun around. We will have a late stage restart here, Brian. And this is the opportunity these guys needed to come on down and get themselves topped up on fuel. This is critical, though, for Jeffrey Souza. He'll have the lucky dog pass, so thankfully nobody else came down pit road, or he would have been trapped 1 lap down.
Yeah, that would definitely have been unfortunate, but this really opens the door here. You think anybody's going to take tires during this pit stop? I mean, I don't think I
doubt it.
would. I mean, I would kind of save those. You never know.
Exactly. You don't want to waste a tire set if you know you're not going to need it. We took a look at the replay here now for the 77 car, and it was all by himself coming out of turn number 2. Just push it a bit too wide. Looks like he got a bit loose, then overcorrected back into the outside wall, and that hit shot him down to the inside line, trying to save it back, and comes around there, and in 3, hits the inside wall, and that was enough for the caution.
Oh, yeah, big hit on the inside wall there with his front end. That is going to be unfortunate, and he had to take a tow. He's probably going to be done for the night, and luckily no one else went with him, though. I mean, could have very easily turned out to where he, could have wrecked some other guys out there, so I think that's about the best wreck you could ask for.
Yellow flag pit stops currently underway. It was, of course, just Levine to lead them down. We'll see who will be leading them out, though. That's going to be the big question. Levine taking tires. That's a bold call from the 19 car. He's going to be down a set. A lot of drivers seem to be taking tires, as a matter of fact. I'm very surprised by this. I thought you'd want to stay on the older tires, until the stage break and take tires then. But it seems like we were wrong. It looks like it's a bit of a split call, but for the most part, everybody is taking tires. Some only took rights, though. I'll tell you right now, those drivers are probably guys like Brian Littleton, Roy Hyde, Schmallenberg, who only had 12-second pit stops. David Phillips II, 7-second pit stop. He likely only took fuel.
I don't know about 2 tires to this racetrack. I don't think that's a good idea. But another thing that is kind of throwing me off a little bit, surprising me, is that Clayton Hoffman, Brian Johnson, Wayne Grossi, and a lot of other guys decided to stay out.
They wanted to go for extra stage points. You're restarting this stage with less than 10 to go. And there are now at least 3 G&G teammates, making 4, all up there in the top 10. If they can work together, they could get some serious stage points for the team.
100%. I mean, especially Brian Johnson. I mean, but the thing is, I mean, this caution, I think this is the kind of rationale that these guys are having, and this caution is going to save them some gas. Maybe clutch it a little bit, be in 4th gear, try to save some of that gas.
And Mark Sanchez thought better of it. Saw how many guys came down pit road. He will be coming down pit road this time to come on in for his pit box. So Mark Sanchez is in. He is the only driver, though, from the top 6 that has come in. So first on back to 6th place. They're all out there on old tires. Those drivers are Hoffman, Johnson, G&G teammates on the front row. Then you got Wayne Grossi, Josh Ward, the G&G driver, and Al Kozlowski up in 5th. Craig Johnson 6th. And then Justin Levine and Travis Manning, the two frontline drivers. They're the first two drivers that are up there.
Well, I mean, these guys staying out sounds like a great idea, and it sounds like a gamble, but they have to be hoping for a caution like quickly, because considering these guys on tires, I mean, we saw how much the fall-off was. I mean, it was multiple seconds. I mean, Levine is just going to scorch right on past these guys, I have a feeling.
Yeah, fresh tires, boy, can they ever be the difference maker here at this track, and you never quite know how it's going to play out. Jared Phillips, by the way, has taken his machine to the garage, so he's our first official retirement on the day. Second, if you want to count Jeff Chandler, who is still technically in the session, but has not gotten into his car since getting that speeding penalty some 24 laps ago. Are we one to green this time by? I would hope so. Everybody's stacked up, ready to go. You see GMG's already doubled up. They want to get going. They want to get this thing back underway. If this goes green now, it'll be a 6-lap sprint to end out stage number 1. And that crucially means they make it 1 lap, and that means stage 1 is complete.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think they want a caution immediately. So, I mean, they're hoping that the little bit of a cushion that there is between them and Justin Levine, like an Al Keselowski or something, maybe hold these guys up, maybe wreck them or something. I don't know. Heck, might even cash app him a couple dollars. But hey, man, take care of this. You know.
Wouldn't that be something if you could actually like put out live bounties or hits on other drivers mid-race? Could you imagine?
Oh, I wouldn't want to be a part of an iRacing like that. You know.
All right, here's the plan.
If I was only commentating it, though, I think I'd be okay with it.
Well, here's the strategy. Okay, we're going to be taking we're going to take the Formula V cars, right? We're going to put them at the bull ring. It'll be a 200-lap race. You can put hits out on any driver you want to be taken out during the race, and last man standing wins, or whoever completes 200 laps first.
Yeah, if you could actually complete the amount of laps, I mean,
yeah,
might be a waiting game there. We would just see a bunch of guys sitting in pit road waiting on their engines to be repaired.
And most likely,
like we're gonna deviate from our scheduled programming here and go watch Seinfeld. Like,
well, the basic race coming around turns 3 and 4. It's going to pull down the pit road. That leaves it in the hands of GNG driver Clayton Hoffman. Launches well early from the iRacing restart zone. We're back underway for the final 6 laps, and his front line caught napping on the restart. They've lost quite a bit of time up to the top 6, but they're going to easily be able to run them back down just 1 and 2 alone on cold tires. Look back to Justin Levine. That's the driver to watch at the moment. Already looking for the inside, going to make it, try to go 3 wide out of turn number 2, and it's going to be front line to split Craig Johnson. That's 1 GNG driver down, 2 to go.
And look at Kyle Labrie making up some big moves too here. I mean, this is going to be good for his playoffs here. If these guys can't catch up, though, this is going to be devastating. But I think they have just enough time to do it.
5 laps to go, and that's the threshold. 1 more caution. This race ends. Look out for Josh Ward way up the track. Almost gets in the wall. He saves it. Kozlowski has to scramble wide to avoid Travis Manning. Here comes Wayne Grassi. They're side by side, 3 wide again, with 2 frontline drivers down to the bottom side. And then do battle for position as well. You got 2 championship contenders in Justin Levine and Kyle Labrie, and a frontline driver, Travis Manning, trying to keep the other guys behind him at bay.
Yeah, Justin Levine, I think, is 1 lap away from leading this race. I mean, he is so fast right now compared to these guys. He's going to make quick work of Brian Johnson, and now here comes Clayton Hoffman. In one corner.
Johnson!
That was almost a close call there.
Talk about a sandwich. That's a bit close for comfort. Brian Johnson saying he appreciates that. You practically taste the sarcasm laced over that statement. So one driver not impressed with Frontline's aggressiveness, but it's going to work, though. You got 1 more front driver up in front. Levine leading this thing. And Travis Manning back up to second. Kyle Labrie making it a Frontline 1, 2, 3 at the moment.
Yeah, one thing about it, I mean, those guys were on old tires. So, I mean, my hat goes off to them to be able to actually handle their race cars like that 3 wide. I mean, that is not easy when you have guys that are on new tires like that.
And now, pit road will close. 2 laps to go in the stage. They were hoping for a caution. The caution didn't come. They're now all out of the top 5.
100%. I mean, that just, that's gambling right there. I mean, that's what you get. I mean, it could go either way, and it definitely went a way that was not beneficial to them. But what a race it's been thus far, and it's not over. I mean, we got one more lap here when they cross the line here of this stage.
So one more lap. Levine is leading from about 0.4 of a second over his teammate Travis Manning. There's another frontline driver, Kyle Labrie, just in behind. We're not going to be seeing a fierce, hard-fought battle for a Stage 1 victory. Not between two teammates, and only one of them is going for a championship run. So it'll be Justin Levine, who just has to navigate turns 3 and 4 cleanly, and he will make it safely through. So Justin Levine off at turn 4, and it'll be frontline to win out stage number 1 for the Hooters 250 at Texas. And Brian Johnson out of fuel! Brian Johnson out of fuel, coming back to the line! Disaster for Brian Johnson as he loses out on critical stage points and is now out of fuel, has to coast it around a pit road.
Oh my word, this could cause him to lose a lap.
He was in 8th and he finished 14th because of that. He's still dropping down. This is absolute disaster for the 4-car.
When the playoff time's on the line, I just don't know if you should make calls like that. I mean, it can win you a race, or it can, maybe even win you a stage. But I don't know. That was kind of the realm of possibilities there that this would work out for him. I mean, I guess the caution just was not enough to save him enough to make it to the end, and he's rolling real slow. I don't even think he's going to make it to pit road.
He's not. He's only going 33 miles an hour. That's not enough to make it around turns 3 and 4 and all the way down pit road to get to your pit stalls yet. And here come the leaders coming around turn 4. The pit road's about to open for them. This is bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he is going to have to play catch up for the rest of the race. I mean, especially if he's forced to take a tow. I mean, that could be 2 laps down, maybe even 3.
And the leaders come down pit road.
And one thing about it, though, I mean, Justin Levine, is he going to take tires here? He just took tires before. I mean, that's one less set he's going to have here. What is he going to do? And it looks like Travis Manning not taking tires here. And along with Justin Levine, Travis Manning actually able to win the race off of pit road.
Interesting.
No,
and Brian Johnson has thrown in the towel.
That is going to be awful for his chances. I mean, he's going to be pretty much almost in a must-win situation.
Pretty much, yeah.
What a race of drama and some heartbreak going on right now. We're seeing it unfold here live.
This is not good news at all, because you have to remember as well, there is that rule where if you are not within a certain distance of the cars in front under pacing, you get a points penalty of 10 points. And Brian Johnson was not able to do so because, well, he was out of fuel. So he's going to get a major points penalty on top of getting what could be, third to last place points in this race.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, but that's just the name of the game. I mean, you make a decision and it leads to that. I mean, that's just what happens, and it's so unfortunate for the G&G crew. Their hearts were probably, they're definitely hopes and dreams were left on his shoulders, and not to say, I mean, anybody can make a mistake like that and try to chance it. But, I don't know. I'm sure hindsight's going to be 20/20 for that team.
So with the stage cautions already done with, and with that drama all sorted, see if we can't bring up your stage 1 winner, Justin Levine, and we'll see if we can get a word in with the frontline driver that wins that stage 1. Justin Levine, once again, you join us at the booth with yet another stage win to add to your resume.
What's going on, guys?
Well, I gotta ask, what was the decision on the pit call? Because we honestly thought you would just take the fuel, get to the end of the stage, and then take tires there. I was very shocked to see you guys taking the tires on a pit stop so close to a stage caution.
Really wasn't sure. I was banking on everybody coming down, and I didn't want to be the only one out there with no tires, especially with points being so close. I definitely needed the stage points to at least have some type of a cushion into the next round, and taking the tires now to guarantee the stage win was definitely the right call for me right now.
Well, with some extended first couple of stage lengths, that of course means that for pretty much the first time all season long, you guys have to come down mid-stage in order to get your fuel serve back up so you can make it to the end of the stage. Has that changed up the strategy at all for you guys over there?
Oh, definitely. The way the shortened stages where you just had to go flat out until it was staged and then put tires on it. Now we only have 4 tires or 5 tire sets, and we got a short pit to make the stage. It definitely changes it up. I like it a lot. It adds more of the strategy call to the race.
And well, you are 1 to green here, so we're going to wrap this up and let you get back down to the keep strategizing with the team. But before we let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out for your Frontline Motorsports number 19?
So everyone back at the shop, Frontline, they did a great job on the set. Car feels really good. I'm really excited on how this race is going to turn out.
Thank you, Justin, for taking the time to join us up here in the broadcast booth, and best of luck in stage 2.
Thank you.
Well, you heard it right there, Brian. He likes the strategy call. He likes being able to strategize a little bit more, and you see Kyle Labrie strategizing a little bit with space and time, it would seem.
Yeah, that's definitely not good. But one thing that we got to keep in mind here for this next stage, I think it's going to be pretty much just like the last stage. I mean, pretty much 50 laps once again. I mean, this is going to be crazy. And like, we kind of talked about Levine. He's not on the newest tires right now like everybody else was in that last stage. How is this going to go for him?
Al Kozlowski way back behind the field and coming down to pit road. It sounds like he had a penalty for pushing Brian Johnson into pit road, but stage 2 going to be coming to a start. Noah Bitts going to be the one to lead them back to the green. We're underway for stage 2, and I have to wonder, does Al then get the penalty for not being as close as he could be, 0.3 seconds, with the guy in front of him? Because he dropped back a long way because he needed to serve that penalty. He wanted us to come down and serve that penalty when they were coming to the green so he loses as little time as possible on track.
Yeah, I don't blame him for doing that, but I mean, if there's a rule that says you're not supposed to, have that much distance, I think that, yeah, you should have thought better about that. But we have some really heavy racing going on up here. John Mullins real close to Travis Manning.
Thought he was going to wipe him out there via left rear quarter panel hook into turn number 3. Manning kept with it, though, so it was a 3-wide fight. Levine, Mullins, and Manning were all going 3 abreast with each other. It's a crazy start already for stage 2, more so than stage 1. Now, that being said, we have not gone too wide for the race lead yet with that huge launch that Noah Bitts got over the field.
And also, some of these guys are on newer tires. I mean, you got to think Clayton Hoffman. I mean, he's looking very fast right now. I think he is on probably some of the newest tires in the field.
You see Josh Schaffner having to bail out around the outside line, just lost spots to Levine. He's losing out on Mullins. Going to go 3 wide with John Ballew up the inside. The number 6 car going to make it 3 abreast into turn number 3. Mullins has to back out again from the middle, but Schaffner losing so much ground around that outside line. And keep in mind, his tires are about 10 laps older than everybody else's. It's the same story with Noah Bitts, though, as well as John Mullins. So you wonder if this is just something else with Josh Schaffner.
Yeah, definitely not sure on that. I mean, maybe could have made a change during the pit stops and might not have changed tires, but could very well have maybe changed the perch or something like that, and that race car could have definitely thrown it off.
It wouldn't surprise me if you ended up changing something around. It's not an uncommon thing to see drivers do. Change up the cars at the pit stops as it goes around, especially if you're already in pit road as it is, changing tires under a stage caution. You may as well make those adjustments then instead of having to do them under green, but whether it's working is that's up for debate at the moment, as he is about to lose on another one to Wayne Grossi. You watch the field thunder head on down that back straightaway. Holy cow! Travis Manning, you saw him look to the inside and nearly wipe out Noah Bitts, but Bitts gave way at the last second for him.
Yeah, one thing that's really going to complicate things here for Travis Manning, Noah Bitts, and Justin Levine is look who's in front, Al Kozlowski. We'll have to wait and see how this all turns out. I mean, these guys are racing hard, side by side with Noah Bitts and John Ballew. Now 3 wide with Justin Levine in the middle.
That's that Reaper Speedline's number 6 car breeze around the outside line. Noah Bitts got loose from the top side. Thought they might collide, but they didn't. Now, Al Kozlowski had to come down and serve a 30-second stop and hold penalty in pit road on the restart. So he now finds himself 1 lap down. It's about to be 2, though, if Manning gets by him.
Yeah, he has found himself right in front of a very angry dog right now of a pack. As John Ballew, I mean, looking very strong. I mean, you can see that him and Clayton Hoffman, I do believe they're probably on the newest tires of the field. I think after all is said and done, maybe the next couple laps, I think, and maybe even the next lap now, Ballew getting a huge run up to Travis Manning.
At the moment, John Ballew is on same tires as Travis Manning. They both came down under that last pit stop, under that stage caution. And that has got to be helping it out a little bit to help John Ballew reel in Travis Manning. You can see that 22 car already losing ground. But what this tells me, Brian, is that John Ballew is burning all of his stuff up early here, just trying to make up ground. He's probably going to be very, very vulnerable later on in the run.
Yeah, it could very well be the case. I mean, might be depending on when he decides to pit. For sure, as he's gotten a good run there, trying to look up top on Travis Manning. Now looking bottom. A little bit of a fake out here. He's watching Travis Manning. I think Manning might be mirror driving to see what Ballew's going to do.
And already Manning up to the wall again, carrying the run that you can get from that side draft off of that wall. Pulls ahead of Ballew by the time they get for 3, but in turn 3, I was going to say it'd be no contest, but that has not been the case. John Ballew is still out in front, side by side for the lead. We'll keep our eyes on this. I want to just mention Wayne Grossi down pit road, but we'll keep our eyes on this lead battle. Clayton Hoffman thinking about making it 3 wide for a moment into turn 1.
Yeah, Ballew clearly getting ahead there. I mean, what a race there. Side by side, almost a drag race. But now Ballew clearly out in front. But having to battle like that and using your stuff up, like you mentioned, could very well be detrimental to his races. We see Justin Levine and Clayton Hoffman side by side for 3rd.
And Levine pulls ahead for 3rd place just at the line. And Hoffman moving up to the outside line to try to get that run. Might try to get the over-under, but Levine's still on the bottom side, so Hoffman can't cross over like he might have wanted to. He's got to try to fight this one around the outside line by the wall instead.
Look at the run that Clayton's getting, though. Wow. But you can tell on entry, Justin starts to pull away a little bit. We'll see how this next corner exit does, and it looks like Levine is going to pull ahead. But still, Clayton able to rest that nose right on his right rear to keep him from pulling. Oh, actually, now he gets clear. Justin Levine for 3rd.
Hoffman going for the switchback, though, and he'll get back up the inside of Justin Levine down that back straightaway. That was a calculated pass that Clayton Hoffman set up. He deliberately allowed Levine to get that position clear so he could get that over-under into turn 3. And how about that? It's going to be Hoffman trying to work his way back up to 3rd, but not able to get him at the line. It's still Levine in 3rd place for the time being.
Well, one thing we kind of talked about a little bit earlier about these guys, when they're racing each other hard like this, it really starts to back things up. And I think it really is starting to back things up when it comes to some of the guys back in the mid-pack. They're starting to catch up. You see Noah Bitts, when they're racing side by side, starts to catch up here. So you got to wonder, is it worth fighting like this?
More battles further in the field as well. I'm watching Josh Schaub at the moment side by side with Roy Hyde in the 13 car coming out of turn number 4. As well as that, you got Schmallenberg in the 72 and David Phillips the 2nd in the 89 car. They're looking to go side by side along with Jeffrey Souza deeper in the field. It's a very tight midfield battle at the moment. Schaffner still continuing to slip back position. He's nearly getting into with Corey Cook as well. You saw it too.
Oh, yeah, I definitely did. I mean, Schaffner and Corey Cook almost got into each other there. So Schaffner or Corey might have been making some adjustments on that race car. It doesn't seem to be helping out very much as he's now side by side with Kenny Powell for that 12th spot.
Powell picks up another place for P12, and Souza going to try to follow suit, work his way up to P13. Cook continues to slide down, just getting freight train at the head of this big battle, though. Littleton up the side of John Mullins. John Mullins has to back off to avoid hitting the wall. So Roy Hyde's going to go through. Schaub is going to go through. Powell defends against Souza in turn 3 as well.
Wow, I'm very impressed with this 28 and 13. They are working well together here up into the top 10. As we see back in the pack here a little bit, Josh Schaffner and John Mullins side by side. And this might help out Kenny Powell. Kenny Powell getting a huge run up to Schaffner's back end. Had to check up a lot to avoid hitting him.
And going to go 3 wide down the back straightaway. Souza on the inside. Powell in the middle. Mullins up top. John Mullins pulls around and clears both drivers by the time they get around. to turn numbers 3 and 4. Look at Powell, Pigeon and Souza. They almost bang doors, and Powell swings wide.
Yeah, that definitely took a lot of momentum out of Powell's hands there. Is Paul Smallenberg able to drive around? Corey Cook also on the bottom here, trying to clear Powell.
Some great racing that we're seeing over here in the midfield, right? Just on the bottom, it's the start of the second half. In the field, Powell clears Cook and David Phillips II. And finally, this packed single file is out for the first time in about 20 laps.
And also got to mention here, we got a little bit of a race going on here between Troy Torgerson and Noah Bitts here for 6th place, side by side. They've been trading that position back and forth here. Looks like Troy going to have the advantage. He clears him for 6th.
And Al Kozlowski defended against John Ballew in the turns 3 and 4. It's a bold call from Al, considering there's a lap down already, about to go down 2. What on earth is Al doing? The 0-0 all over the shot. John Ballew gonna have to take this one the long way around. I can tell you right now, John Ballew is probably not going to be too happy with Kozlowski over all of this fight that he's doing. Finally takes the spot around the outside line, but I mean, Al defended the point of he nearly went onto the apron trying to keep John Ballew behind it down the backstretch the last time through.
Yeah, he is desperate to stay on the lead lap here, and
he's 2 down now. He was already a lap down.
So he doesn't want to go another one down, apparently, as he is still racing him hard.
I don't know why he's doing this.
Turn him. Looks like he's about to turn him.
We didn't see this kind of race when they were racing for the race lead earlier on at the end of a stage. I question, why you'd want to race that hard when you're already 2 laps down. If you end up turning the race leader, I can almost guarantee you're going to have one pissed off driver at you at the end of the race who's going to have a word with you.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't want to interview that guy after the race.
Ballew finally gets clear for now. And with that, we can finally look back now to some of the battles for position out on course. You mentioned you mentioned Troy Torgerson and Noah Bitts' battle. They've caught up to Kyle Labrie now, making it a 3-car fight now for 5th position. And they're still looking to do battle as well. Noah Bitts trying to go under on Torgerson, but doesn't quite work out for him. Bitts then has to back off. That allows Torgerson to potentially get a run on Kyle Labrie coming on down into turn number 3.
Well, I got to ask you a little bit about Troy here. I mean, I haven't seen him before in this league. I mean, is he a normal, entrant? I mean, is he new?
No, sir. First-time racer here.
He is doing an excellent job for a first-time racer here.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's not often you see guys come on out and they'll go out and run up in the top 10 consistently all race long. He's doing a great job so far today. About to look underneath Kyle Labrie, his frontline teammate, who is a championship contender, it is worth noting. So Labrie looks like he'll be losing out on P number 5. Labrie's been slowly slipping back so far. I think burned all his stuff early on. Just cuts across Noah Bitts, who muscles him out wide. Bitts was not yielding for anything there.
100%. And Kyle Labrie having a heavy blinking issue. I don't know if you're seeing that too.
Yeah, I'm seeing it too, unfortunately.
I think that's what's really making him fall back a little bit here. Maybe some of maybe his teammate Troy was like, "Hey man, you're blinking." Oh, man, he almost took out Noah Bitts there.
And that was a close one as well, because Noah Bitts is pitting this time by, and that's why he let Kyle Labrie get away with that. He said, take it quick, because I'm coming into pit road. That's why he was so far down the track in the first place. Look at Schaubner coming on in, and just behind, John Mullins checks it up as well. So green flag stops now underway, and this time in force.
Yeah, a lot different than what we saw in that last stage. I mean, a lot of guys waited a long time to go. Now it seems like, they're kind of going a little bit earlier than they did last stage, for sure.
So they'll come down to pit road. They'll lose a lap as well in the process. The battle's still raging on elsewhere on track. You look back to David Phillips II, who is now battling for Schmallenberg for 10th place on the racetrack, and looking for that one coming into turn number 1. And just on cue, the 89 car down the inside of Schmallenberg into turn number 1. See Kenny Powell wait in the wings to see if he can maybe capitalize on this as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that 89 has been very impressive, along with the 72. They're kind of a newer entry into the league, too, and definitely been impressing. I mean, surprisingly, of course, I know them from another league that I broadcast, and they run on fixed series races. So, I mean, it's very shocking to see them in an open series like this and doing as well as they are.
You see Schmallenberg kind of washing wide, though, in turn number 1. I think just try to fixate on David Phillips' second a bit too much and capitalize on corner entry speed, but in doing so, just ran a bit wide and cost himself on the exit. Lost a bit of time back to Kenny Powell, who is still very much in the mix of this thing if he wants to get his hands dirty and start do battling as well. Just up the road, Labrie continues to drop down spots. Just lost one as well to Brian Littleton into turn number 1 down that front straightaway. So Kyle Labrie definitely having some kind of handling issue with this car, not able to get the power down on corner exit here.
Yeah, definitely going to be looking to maybe make some adjustments here on this pit stop. But, I mean, usually, if you see yourself falling through the field like this, maybe now is the time to take that pit stop. I mean, I'm surprised the red flags aren't going off for him. Maybe, adjust something, have that set up for your neck when you do decide to pit, because something is definitely not handling right in that race car.
Corey Cook announced that he'd be coming down pit road, and down pit road he is. The 61 car down to the lane this time by with just under 20 laps to go in stage number 2 on the day.
And John Ballew has created such a lead right now on Clayton Hoffman, 2.7 and growing. So we talked about him like he was burning his stuff up. Apparently, he just got the setup for the long run here.
It's good news for John Ballew to say the very least. He might just be good at Texas Motor Speedway. You never know. You sometimes get those tracks you're better at, others you're not. Jeffrey Souza making that trip down to pit road. And yet we wait for more.
100%. And, we were talking about Ballew there. I mean, he's got to pit at some point, too. I mean, it's all going to be really about when you pit. I mean, you could be leading this race by 2 seconds and pit at the wrong time. Guess what? You don't win the stage. Have to see what happens here. I mean, we've seen Justin Levine kind of have an unconventional type of pit stop. Let's see what he does. He's in third. I mean, we know, he wants to win this race. He wants to do everything he can to get as many stage points as he can. I mean, he's got to do everything here tonight. I mean, if he wants to win this championship, lock himself into the Final Four, and winning this race will definitely do it.
You say the Final Four. There is no Final Four. It's actually the Final 2. You have 3 races for the round of 4.
I forgot.
You eliminate 2 after And imagine this. Imagine if it comes down to points at Martinsville and only one driver can make it out because another one's already won his way in. Holy cow, that would be a barnstormer.
It definitely would. And a little bit of a closer race going on back here. For 5th place, Troy starting to have a little bit of a problem with the 13 of Roy Hyde. Roy Hyde really starting to lay into him now.
I feel like Troy Torgerson might have just burned his stuff up trying to keep up there with other guys in his little grouping here, so he is now struggling to keep Roy Hyde at bay in that battle for 5th place on track. Don't forget Brian Littleton, that 28 card just waiting in the wings as well. See if maybe he can make a run on a top 5 finish as well here in stage 2.
Definitely be a good momentum builder for next season for sure. I mean, I know these guys that are late joiners in this league, or in this season, not going to have a great chance, of course. You're not going to win a championship now, but, I mean, still, you could build your team up, get your program ready for next season, and I have a feeling that next season might even be better than this one. I mean, this has been such a great season as it is, but knowing ISCA, we only have, even better things to look forward to.
It's worth noting as well that you have, of course, the regular Cup Series that is running right alongside with this one. So you technically have 2 different championships, per se, going on at the same time. Now, Season 4 of 2021 does not end until quite a few weeks after the Super Cup Series ends. It's why we haven't been focusing on that one too much lately, the Super Cup Series. Taking priority as they are now in playoffs. How about Noah Bitts? Breezing on through. He is a lap down, but he is on fresh rubbers. He had come down pit road this last time by.
And you can clearly see just how much it helps to have that fresh rubber. I mean, that 87 is looking so strong right now. I mean, I think he'll quickly unlap himself. Maybe we'll see another late stage caution like we did in the last stage. Could really set him up because he is a lucky dog right now. And Roy Hyde has managed to get around Troy Torgerson. Brian Littleton's still stuck behind him, though. Wonder what he's going to try to do here. As we now have 15 laps left in this stage. The clock is ticking for John Ballew. I think now that he's ran this far into it, he's probably just going to be coming down for gas. What do you think, Nolan?
You never know. We thought that the last time by, and people still came down to get themselves some tires, so it's really kind of all up in the air. You'll watch us Torgerson back down the inside of Roy Hyde for 1. Try to go for the move. No dice, though, for that number 98 car just yet. We are coming down 9 laps remaining here in Stage 2 on the day.
What's different about last stage, though, is, I mean, they had that caution. They kind of split things up a little bit. You know, now I don't think we're going to get that. I don't think these guys are going to have that. So when you do pit, maybe you wouldn't take tires. I don't know. I mean, we're kind of in untreaded territory, I'd say.
Here comes Josh Schaffner, yet another driver on the fresh rubber. Came down pit road a little while ago, and he's going to breeze past just on that fresh rubber. May as well let him go. He's going to get by you one way or another. May as well not waste your time fighting with him when you have to come down pit road yet as well.
100%. And we know for a fact you cannot save enough to make it to this stage. I mean, just looking at Brian Johnson, I mean, running out even after having that caution that kind of saved him a little bit of gas. I mean, if you can't make it after that, you're not making it at all.
John Ballo has come down pit road from the race lead. He's already completed his stop. He has took the tires. He is off and away. So John Ballo getting set to cycle back out to the race lead now that he is officially on fresh rubber and the fresh rubber out there on the track. Brian Littleton also coming down pit road of the 28 car. So looks like pit stops are going to be fully underway for the rest of the drivers here in this field.
And 100%. Joe, look at that. Clayton Hoffman starting to get up to John Ballew. John Ballew not up to speed, so he looks like he will lose a lap. But look at this. I think he might get up to speed not to lose this lap.
Oh, bobbles off the apron, though, and that almost sent him up into Noah Bitts. Bitts stays clear. And Clayton Hoffman as well. He's starting to work on it here. Oh, how about this? Noah Bitts. That was a pass for position there. John Ballew has lost the net race lead. It's actually now up to Noah Bitts, who's trying to see if he can run away with it.
That is definitely incredible here. I feel like maybe Noah could do it. I mean, we see Ballew kind of stuck behind Clayton Hoffman. This is precious time he's losing here.
And Paul Bregney made his pit stop the last time by. I see Roy Hyde leaving pit road now. So the rest of these drivers here are going to be getting down pit road within the next 2-3 laps or so. You cannot go to the end of the stage. And we're talking coming to 5 laps to go now for the guys on the lead lap.
Well, I do believe the stage ends at 105. I hate to call you out, Nolan.
Yes, sorry. I'm used to... I forgot he tags on the extra laps in stage 2 to account for the caution laps as well. So my mistake on that one. Make it... Well, it's actually going to be already 9 laps to go in stage 2.
Everybody gets one. I mean, I get multiple because I always mess things up, so it's okay.
It wouldn't be the first time. It won't be the last.
What a race this has been, though, so far. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of this racetrack. I like to watch races that are raced here, but if I was out there in the car, I don't envy these guys at all.
I have to kind of agree with you on that one. You know, it's a fun track to watch, and not such a fun track to race at. Troy Torgerson, you mentioned he might be coming on down. I know Kyle Labrie is coming down pit road this time by, as Torgerson stays out for an extra one, so... Labrie is in pit road, so is Manning and Levine. So the entire frontline crew pitting all at the same time here. Travis Manning going to be making his way into his pit box now. So will the number 19 of Just Levine. Now Torgerson calls in that is coming down pit road.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm watching these guys. Levine just takes gas. So a little bit of a different call here for him. It makes sense. I mean, these guys are so close to the end of this stage. Like, why would you take tires right now?
It is a very, very split call so far, guys, that have come down, whether or not they have taken fuel only or they have taken 2 tires or right sides only. Travis Manning was in this box for 11 seconds, so he took right side tires. You look at Kyle Labrie, only in there for 5.3 seconds. Justin Levine, 5.4 as well. You got a lot of sub-30-second times right now in pit road as well. You got 29 seconds for David Wilson II, who's only in there for 4 seconds in his box. One of the closest stops on the day so far for 4.9. That is currently tied with Josh Ward. Clayton Hoffman, meanwhile, has come down pit road. He'll relinquish the race lead. He gives it up to Paul Schmallenberg, who is still in a fierce fight here with David Phillips II. And he's got guys like Al Kozlowski who are on the fresh rubber now trying to run him down just behind.
Yeah, he's also got Travis Manning like right there behind. David Phillips has Travis Manning right there on his back bumper. Going to be probably looking to get by him. But then again, I just don't see how two tires handle here. But apparently Travis Manning is able to make it work as we see Smallberg going down pit road.
Paul Schmallenberg down pit road this time by. He's got one more driver. And now I can safely say we are 5 to go in stage 2. There'll be 4 to go at the line. Field currently headed up by Dave Phillips II, but he has just called in that he is pitting in this time by. Once again, you cannot make it to the end of stage 2, no matter how much fuel you save.
And here he goes slowing down. Everybody able to get around him safely here. Now I think that's going to give the lead here to Kenny Powell. Which I don't know. Kenny Powell going in right along with David Phillips. Along with Josh R. Ward. So I do believe the lead going to go to Noah Bitts now.
Troy Torgerson is in a fierce fight with Kyle LeBray and Corey Cook on track for what is currently 15th, 14th, and 13th on the racetrack. At least it was last time by the line. And they are duking out with guys like Souza and Sanchez. All these spots in this field are for positions. Save for Craig Johnson, who they just lapped. Johnson sticks it up by the wall. They made it 3 wide for a brief moment. But with under 5 laps to go, they're duking it out for the last possible stage point you can get.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Kyle LeBray almost lost it there on the bottom. Got really loose. You can clearly see it, and that slowed him down quite a bit. As Troy's actually starting to catch up here to Travis Manning, which is kind of surprising. I think it's because of those 2 tires. Look at him. Look at Manning. He's not handling very well with those 2 tires.
That he is not. It has not been a pleasant run for Travis Manning thus far, so you are correct. Noah Bitts has cycled through the race lead. His tire is now 24 laps old. That is when he came down. He came down a long time ago, but there is just nobody close that can catch him. John Bowden's the closest driver, but, I mean, he's 3.7 seconds back. You can't catch that in 2 laps.
And even though, he pitted so long ago, he's actually not running the worst laps right now. I mean, he's one of the fastest guys in the field.
Absolutely. So you look back up now into the stage battle in the midfield. Corey Cook looking to do battle with Troy Torgerson. These are for critical stage points here at the moment. Kyle LeBray, a championship contender in the mix of things as well. Trying to get past Torgerson and Corey Cook. Right up in front, Corey Cook gonna clear just barely from Troy Torgerson as they get set to start the last lap of the race, of the stage, excuse me. Not quite the race. Still a ways to go for that.
Yeah, I was kind of a little bit worried there for Kyle LeBray. He's able to get clear there of, I do believe, Troy Torgerson. Still a little bit under fire here, but I was a little bit worried here. Mark Sanchez really was starting to catch up to LeBray, and if LeBray gets kicked out of this top 10, that would be very unfortunate for his team right now. He needs all the stage points he can get here.
Noah Bitts out of turn number 4. He will win stage number 2 for the Hooters 250 here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Watch this battle in the midfield, though, because it's not over yet. Here comes Corey Cook trying to get a run on Travis Manning from P number 7, coming to the caution flag. Will he get there? Doesn't quite make it. Manning holds on.
Yeah, I think that was detrimental there for Travis Manning. I mean, he needed to stay out in front of him. I mean, 6th place. Going to probably be taking that other set of tires now, that's for sure, considering that just did not work out well for him. And listen, Levine, though, taking no tires, seemed like it worked out a lot better than that did work for Manning.
It's because he had so little time left. He didn't have any time to lose it all to the guys on fresh rubber, so thank goodness for that. Well, I can tell you right now, we have not gotten a break since the start of this broadcast because of all the drama that happened under the first stage caution. With no drama this time around, though, we will find ourselves back in just a few moments.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com And be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Pit stops are complete. Noah Bitts led them down pit road. He will lead them off pit road as well. So with everything said and done, I was hoping we might be able to get a chat. In fact, we might be able to get a chat with Noah Bitts as well. We talked with him a little bit, potentially a long time ago. We'll get to talk to him again here, though. Noah Bitts, winner of stage number 2, and by a long shot this time for you.
Yeah, hey, good to talk to you. It's good to talk to you guys again. I'm not really sure what happened. I know I was on a different strategy, but I thought for sure I was going to get past, and then they kind of just hung back.
So what's the plan going to be then for stage number 3? Obviously, it's the longest run you'll be having so far on the day, provided there are no cautions. It's planning to kind of pit around the midpoint like you did in stage 2?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet if I want to wait a little longer to see if maybe a yellow comes out, and then I'll have better tires for the restart, or if I want to pit in the middle and bank on it going green. I'm not sure yet.
We're talking about up out here in the broadcast booth how it's a fun track to watch people race on, not so much to drive on. How's your experience been so far with it, though?
Yeah, it's been probably one of my favorite races of the year so far. But I'm glad the cars don't push as much as they did a couple weeks ago. I think it was Vegas that I raced at. That was pretty bad. It's a lot more fun here, to be honest.
Well, hopefully you'll find yourself a good race going forward. You've won stage 2. You're starting in first place for stage number 3, so you're in prime position to potentially lead a few more laps yet on the night. Before I let you go, though, Noah, anybody you'd like to shout out for your Budweiser Chevrolet?
Just thanks to everyone for putting on the race. I might be up front right now, but I don't think I have what it takes to hold these guys off. It's just going to be strategy, probably.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come on up here and join us, Noah, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you yet again at the race's conclusion.
All right, see you later.
That was Noah Bitts bringing it home as the Stage 2 winner here on the night.
Definitely a humble guy, that's for sure. But I think he sells himself short for sure. I feel like Noah Bitts definitely got a lot of talent, considering I do believe he was the pole winner here tonight. Am I wrong?
Not quite the pole. Actually, he was the pole sitter. I checked it again, and you are correct. He was the pole sitter on the night.
So, I mean, how about that? Winning the pole and winning stage 2. I mean, who knows where else this guy's going to be able to go. But like he did mention, I do agree, there are a lot of hungry guys behind him right now.
Among them, 2 rivalry teams have been rivaling so far throughout the entirety of the playoffs thus far. Frontline and G&G, they've been right up there duking it out with each other. You never know what could happen in a race like this one. You're going to have just over 50 laps to go by the time we take the green flag, so not too much longer than one of our stages on the night. But that's still plenty of time for something to go wrong and happen.
100%, but one of the worst things about it, I mean, G&G, even though, yeah, they're up there right now with them, the person that really needs to be up there right now with them is Brian Johnson. He is nowhere to be found right now. So just really the hopes and dreams, like I said, we're on his shoulders, and now these guys have nothing to lose, so you never know really what's going to happen now.
I want to shout out as well real quick to ButtKicker for being able to be the title sponsor so far of the 2021 Super Cup Series season. If you want to get a good discount on all ButtKicker products at ButtKicker.com, use the code ISCA20. You'll get 20% off on all ButtKicker products. The pace car is down to pit road. There'll be Noah Bitts to lead them back to the green flag. We're underway for the final stage on the night for the Hooters 250 at the Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Noah seems like he's very calculated when he goes to these restarts. He's always leaving and trying to, catch these guys a little bit off guard, and it seems like it works. But it looks like Justin Levine has a sniff of that draft now as everybody's starting to catch up to Levine. Or, I'm sorry, Noah Bitts.
And Randy Drumhiller coming on down pit road as he has just called it out again. Some potential penalties for the 44 car. Would it be the first time on the night? And you never know, might not even be the last. But the side-by-side for the race lead. Justin Levine going to go back to the point. John Mullins trying to pick up second as Noah Bitts loses out on the lead. Mullins bubbles, though, big time from the middle line. And that gives the run to Clayton Hoffman down the back straightaway. Crashing early behind as well. Look out for Mark Sanders, who goes hard to the inside wall but manages to recover.
Yeah, a lot of problems on that last restart. I saw Kenny Powell fall back through the field back to 18th. I mean, wow. He was about 3 wide on the bottom and just started dropping back like a stone.
The good news is no caution throughout all of that carnage. We managed to keep it green. Look up front to Clayton Hoffman. Here comes Manning, and here comes Corey Cook. All three of them trying to get a run on Josh Schaffner here. Manning tried the side drive with Corey Cook. That didn't go anywhere, though. And Hoffman trying to work the outside line. Josh Schaffner trying to hold the middle ground thus far. A lot of drivers seemingly all over the shot here. Just up in front of you can see Noah Bitts trying to crowd John Mullins down towards the apron. What is happening on the restart for stage 3 here?
I don't know. I think a lot of these guys feel like they ain't got nothing else to lose, and they're racing hard. John Mullins getting so close to Noah Bitts' left rear there. Wow.
Talk about a close contact right there for John Mullins. The other got in with Noah Bitts. Managed to keep it going, though. You look back to Josh Schaffner and Travis Manning, who are still looking to duke it out through turns 3 and 4 and down that front straightaway. Clayton Hoffman still in the mix of things as well. And all of this is allowing Corey Cook to stay just barely in the fray. I had to check up big time to avoid running over Hoffman right in front, and bit of contact as well for third.
Man, that was kind of close there between Josh Schaffner and Travis Manning. You see Manning almost got up into Josh Schaffner, but managed to let out just in the nick of time, and he's lost a lot of speed because of that. Allowed Clayton Hoffman to take over 5th.
Holy cow, this is quite the fight that we're starting to see here. You can see Corey Cook trying to work on Travis Manning now, but Manning going to be down the inside line. I have a feeling that'll bruise the front line number 22 Ford Mustang. Will be able to maintain that 6th place for the time being. So how about we look further down the field? You can take a look at Paul Schmallenberg along with Brian Littleton. They're going side by side, and just behind them, Roy Hyde and Wayne Grossi also into a 2-wide battle. So the battle is going on up and down all the way throughout the midfield here.
100%. I mean, and we talked about it earlier about these guys when they get side by side. Well, a lot of the guys that are further a little bit back in the pack might have a chance to catch up to some of these guys now. Give them a pretty good opportunity. Smallberg able to get clear of Brian Littleton, but Littleton crossing him over.
And Roy Hyde had the bobble of the race so far out of turn 2, nearly wiped out Wayne Grossi, but they managed to somehow recover it. So Littleton going to pull ahead from Grossi. Schmallenberg dropping back to Grossi, as well as Roy Hyde, the 72 car, dropping big time down the order here. Going to try to cross over Roy Hyde here to get that run down the back straightaway.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are being really aggressive, driving it into the corner a little harder than they should be. Just one thing about, I think Texas is definitely true about it. You need to race the racetrack and not each other, considering that could really cause a lot of problems when you overdrive it, focusing on the guy in front of you.
And the battles are still raging on further the field as well. Josh Schaffner under fire from Clayton Hoffman and Travis Manning. The 22 and the 92 looking to work together here. Bump drafting down the back straightaway. Manning with the shove with the gas-go driver of Clayton Hoffman down in the turns 3 and 4. Schaffner trying to pinch him down. A side draft down through the turns 3 and 4 apron. And all that is allowing the top 3 to start to slowly but surely break away. Here comes Manning trying to make another spot on Schaffner as well.
Oh, contact.
Check into turn 1. Again!
I am shocked that he did not lose that race car. Oh. Corey Cook able to get right on by these guys. Wow, what a move from Corey Cook to... Usually you see something like that happen and you don't take advantage of it, but apparently he was like, I didn't get that memo. Oh, more contact! Schaffner into the outside wall. There's a caution. This is going to be big. Oh, look at that. The red start to get by this.
Still cars scrambling into the infield to try to get around a stranded Josh Schaffner. Powell bailed into the infield. So did Josh Ward, as well as that. Kyle Labrie is going to make contact with Al Kozlowski coming back out onto the racetrack. What an insane mess.
definitely gonna have to take a look back at what happened here.
Look at this. This all started in 1 and 2. That is a huge hit to the outside wall for Schaffner. Oh my God, Souza! Did you see the 14 car have to scramble to the outside line and just barely get through them by the skin of his teeth?
I'll tell you, the one you really should turn back and watch has got to be Kyle Labrie. Heavy contact with the outside wall, and I think he even had some contact with Roy Hyde.
Yeah, he did. You're right. As well as, Wayne Grossi got out of that by the skin of his teeth, so a big mess here. And all of this started over in turns 1 and 2, it's worth noting. They made contact 3 separate times in turns 1 and 2, and then another 2 times in 3 and 4. This is on board with Labrie here, so watch this. He's going to go up high and then has to come back down. There's Roy Hyde, though, coming up the track as he's in the grass and just pounds Labrie into the outside wall.
Yeah, what an incident, but got my hat's off to those guys that were able to get through that. I mean, wow, it was literally a parting of the Red Sea.
Tell you what, that'll be an interesting one for the league admins to look at post-race, because they hit 1, 2, make it 3 times in turns 1 and 2 alone. An initial contact, then Manning pushed a bit wider, got back into Schaffner, and then again on the exit. And then they got into it again twice more in turns 3 and 4 to fully start that one off. I think that second time, though, once was because Travis Manning bounced off the apron. I'll give him that. But then once he just kind of straightened up and deliberately put Schaffner to the outside wall, that's going to have to be looked at later, I would think.
Well, I mean, 3 strikes and you're out. Apparently, that's Travis Manning's policy.
Make it 5. Good grief.
What an incident. That has really injected a lot of excitement into this race, too, for sure, considering a lot of guys probably going to take this opportunity to go ahead and take this pit stop. I mean, this is the split in half, I think, in a lot of ways. Maybe not quite a split in half, but we're seeing really a lot of different calls here.
A lot of the lead lap guys did come down pit road already. The top 3 stayed out of Bitts, Mullins, and Cook. John Ballou also stayed out from deeper in the field. It's a bit of a mess, and I don't understand. I mean, it's a bit of a messy situation, and I can't say I can necessarily blame Roy Hyde for having to come up on the track and door Kyle Labrie, because you have to remember, you're in the grass, you do not have near as much turning power, and he was at full throttle still trying to just keep it in it because he had just got around that wreck, flies up on you out of nowhere. I mean, you can't really do anything when you hit the grass. You're kind of just along for the ride at that point. And Labrie just ended up being an innocent bystander.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the field's split in half like that. And Schaffner, it would be one thing if Schaffner was like straight, but one thing, he's sideways. So that creates even more drama there trying to get around him. He's taking up half the track. I mean, he's taking up half the track pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, you can't, I mean, I think Roy probably could have backed it down a lot sooner than he did, and that's definitely unfortunate, especially endangering a playoff driver like that with Kyle Labrie. Huge contact with him, huge implications that's going to have for sure. But, that's how racing is. Sometimes it just happens that way. I mean, it's never, I don't think a lot of it's intent. I don't know. We have to look back at the Manning incident. Maybe that could have been something like that, but yeah. I don't think Roy intended to do anything like that.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with you on that one. It's very hard when it's all happening in the moment. You can always look back at it and say, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about that. You have to always remember that when you're doing this in the moment, you're racing at over 160 miles an hour coming off of these corners. And everything that happened, the entire incident from start to finish, it was over as quick as it started. We're talking probably about 5 to 10 seconds total.
Oh, yeah, so, you're 100% right.
You can't make decisions like that. The human brain just can't think that fast, which is why real guys, they tend to think 4 or 5 seconds up the road, which is why they even more get caught off guard when things like this happen.
100%. You also got to consider, I mean, these guys' heartbeats are probably going at 130 or something like that. Adrenaline's starting to set in a little bit. I mean, that clouds the judgment.
Coming to the close of our 4th caution on the day. The second one, though, for an incident. 2 of them have been for stages. The first one came all the way back in stage number 1. Stage 2 went completely green. And then, of course, we had, what just happened between Manning and Josh Schaffner, which I would imagine would be looked at again post-race, because 5 different pieces of contact before they wreck. At some point, you got to say, all right, one of you is being a bit of an idiot there on that one.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I'll leave that to the admins. Not going to say who really was at fault at that. I mean, a lot of times, even up here in the booth, we can't clearly see it. I mean, I'm sure if we looked at their inputs and stuff like that, we could really do a good analyze it for sure. But now it's time to get back racing. The pace car peeling down pit road.
And Bits launches good, just as he always has. The entire inside line checks out. We're back underway on lap 125 for the Texas Motor Speedway. And look at the gap that Bits has already formed on the rest of the field behind him.
Yeah, this is perfect for him. I mean, he had a good car that was good in the short and about the mid. I don't think he had the long run speed, but I mean, this might be good for him.
And don't forget, the top 3 on that restart had not come down pit road. Justin Levine is the first car on fresh tires. This is about 15 lap pressure tires. And guys like Bits just up the road from him.
Yeah, that's a sizable difference, too. I mean, Justin Levine has a very good chance to win this race now. Getting real close to Mullins. Oh, my word. I mean, that's side drafting if I've ever seen it. I don't even know what to think about that. I mean, Mullins was staying as low as he could, it seemed like.
That wasn't side drafting. That was power sliding. That 19 car was sideways coming through 1 and 2. He was out of control.
Could have been some major adjustments to that race car. Maybe not agreeing with him. I mean, you make those adjustments, you think it's going to help you. Maybe it upset the balance of that race car. He's getting a huge run up there on top of him. Clayton Hoffman, though, now going to try his hand once again on Mullins.
Oh, and puts us on the wall. Look out, Hoffman scrambling to the apron.
Oh,
and
my
Mullins
word.
somehow holds on. How is John Mullins held on to P2 for so long? Holy cow.
What happened there with Levine? He is handling so poorly right now. He hit that outside wall, and it definitely hurt his car even worse than it was already handling.
Oh, yeah, that 19 car is a little worse for wear. Look at how much that back end is starting to twitch around. It wants to come around on him. He is struggling. He must have broken something to hit that outside wall. Still has the speed up, though, and he's going to try to get some help from Travis Manning to finally secure the pass on John Mullins, pitching the 64 car down. Enters 3 and 4. Nearly gets in him as they come off the corner exit.
Yeah, I don't think this is done yet. I mean, Levine is, I think the contact made it worse. I think before that he was already showing some handling conditions. He does manage to get by Mullins, but now Travis Manning pitching Mullins down, going 3 wide. Oh, there's some.
Oh, no.
This is going to be
Hang
bad.
on to it, Manning. Hits the inside wall, comes back on. No caution flag. We're still green. Souza had to scramble onto the apron to avoid that entire mess, as well as a slower car, John Mullins, who got checked up because of that one. Levine is hurt, though. That car is hurting super bad at the moment, and he is struggling to just keep it in a straight line, let alone gain any kind of time.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, with all this excitement, we even missed it. Clayton Hoffman's in the lead now with Noah Bitts in second. Justin Levine holding on dearly for third, as he has got a lot of guys that are right behind him that are handling much better than he is, as we see David Phillips and Wayne Grossi side by side, Paul Smallberg in tow.
So Levine is the furthest playoff driver up the grid. He's in third place, though, but he has a hurt race car. It looks like, though, he has finally managed to get that thing underneath him. Levine is able to have this first clean turn one that he's had so far all day long. Right on board with Wayne Grossi was trying to keep David Phillips to second at bay. It was not a pretty run, though, for the frontline crew.
Yeah, I really feel like Levine is, like you said, I mean, when he hit the wall, it definitely seemed to hurt something very badly. But I also think that under that last pit stop, I think he threw a lot of looseness into that race car.
Oh, Grossi pushing up the track on Justin Levine. And look out as Schmallenberg, I think, grazed the outside wall. Littleton's going to go through. And how about David Phillips the second with the lunge on Wayne Grossi down to the turn number 3. It ain't the last lap just yet, guys. Grossi sent it in, lost the ground to keep it out of Levine, and that just kicked everything off in turn 3.
What a move from David Phillips to second. I mean, wow. If you had to hold it down there like that.
This race has been kicked into absolute overdrive. They were not racing nearly this aggressively for the first 100 laps or so. Now that you don't have any cautions, though, to act as safer buffers to kind of get you back into the running order, you have to push as hard as you can. You can see up front, Bitts is still trying to keep Levine behind him with the side draft, but Levine finally punches his hole into second place. but it is still another 2.5 seconds up the road to race leader Clayton Hoffman as Bitts now starts to drop back.
Yeah, now David Phillips is able to take over third here. Going to try to race his way up to Levine. I mean, Levine's still struggling. You could tell that something, when he hit that wall, it really took a lot of speed away from that race car, but he's still in second right now. It'll be a great place for him to be. But now that Phillips is clear of Noah Bitts, it looks like he's chasing him down. And a lot of side-by-side action right there behind. We see Wayne Grossi side-by-side with Noah Bitts.
Hoffman is still the quicker driver. The gap last time was 2.5 up to the race leader, and now it's a 2.9. So he was about 4/10 slower that last lap still. So Levine is still struggling. You can see Kenny Powell trying to work it out with Troy Torgerson on the inside line down the back straightaway. Torgerson tucks in line. Ryan Littleton with no rear bumper is still running up in the top 10, trying to make a pass on Roy Hyde as well.
Yeah, and I'm shocked Roy Hyde's running as good as he is right now, considering the damage he incurred over that last incident. A lot of these guys are pretty damaged. I mean, we got to think. I mean, Justin Levine hit the wall pretty hard. I mean, very impressed with Troy, though. I mean, look at Troy Torgerson. First night in the ISCA, he is running in the top 5.
Phillips the second, making the run on Justin Levine, trying to make that pass for second place. Levine pinching him down to try to keep him at bay, but the 89 car is there, and he's got the run. Levine will not be able to defend the gap. Now 3.5. Hoffman is about half a second faster every lap consistently. There's nobody to challenge G&G up at the front. Torgerson is going to be under fire from Wayne Grossi. And Phillips second still trying to fend off Levine as well. There's just so much happening in the top 10. You don't know what to look at.
100%. Look at there. There's Kyle Labrie going another lap down here. Unfortunate for his playoff hopes here. I mean, he still has a chance, you know, to maybe get into that final 2, maybe with the next race. But I don't know. Time is running out here. Look at Justin Levine powering around on the high side, able to get back around David Phillips. Can he stay there? And this is really giving a lot of opportunity to Troy Torgerson.
It certainly is. Troy Torgerson has just been able to slowly work his way up there. His second to third place have been slowly, kind of battling it out amongst themselves. And the crucial thing to note here is that the guys like Noah Bitts, they have to come down and pit again yet before the end of this race. But all these other guys, they're good to go as hard as they want until the end. They're not going to have to stop again.
100%. I mean, I think tire management is still probably on their mind in a lot of cases, but the way these guys are racing, I would not say it is at all, which is quite surprising. We still have quite a bit to go.
28 laps left on the clock, this time by Wayne Grossi looking up the inside of Kenny Powell. Further in behind in the battle for P5 and 6. You've got Roy Hyde just in behind, trying to look around the outside of Grossi. Work his way up to 6th. It looks like Hyde will get that run out of turn number 2. Pass back off, though, Devoy going into the outside wall, as we saw Levine do earlier today.
What a run there for Roy Hyde. I mean, that top lane seems like it has its potential. I just don't know how much it's burning these tires up, though. I mean, we still, like you said, have over 20 laps remaining. I mean, that is enough time that tires are really going to start to play a factor.
David Phillips II has been caught by Troy Torgerson. The 98 car frontline machine trying to work his way up further up the podium. And so far, Torgerson has gained the most spots of anybody today. He started 18th. He is up to 3rd, trying to make that 2nd in 3 and 4.
I mean, he might not have a chance to win this race here tonight, but I will tell you, he's definitely won the race in our hearts. He is doing such a phenomenal job out here. As they're still side by side for 2nd place. And this is allowing all these guys behind to get that run back up to them. So this is going to complicate things once again. As Wayne Grossi goes underneath Justin Levine, trying to take away that 4th spot. The more side by side, the more compact this pack will get. And guess what? It's going to help out our race leader, Clayton Hoffman. The more they race, the more he's gonna get away.
There's Travis Bannon just leaving pit road as well. Being passed up by this midfield battle. Roy Hyde still trying to work on Kenny Powell. You see Schmallenberg looking down the inside line as well. But he can't make any moves in the 72 car, and Brian Littleton, he still has a shot to potentially have a run-up.
Yeah, very close race here for our top 10. I mean, these guys are all right there, and this might even help Schmallenberg here as Roy Hyde and Kenny Powell side by side. They're going to take it 3 wide.
3 wide in the turn 3. Powell pulls ahead around the outside line. Leaving Schmallenberg and Hyde to duke it out amongst themselves coming through 3 and 4. With 23 laps to go. Noah Bitts is also down to pit road as well for his final pit stop on the day.
Troy Turgeson actually starting to run down Clayton Hoffman a little bit, but maybe it's too late. He has 4.3 seconds right now. But Troy is really starting to eat into that lead.
That was 4.688 last time by at the line between Troy Torgerson and Clayton Hoffman. This time by at the line, 4.480. So he's a couple of tenths quicker that last time by. Actually, about 3 tenths even that faster that time by. So Torgerson is indeed starting to chase down Clayton Hoffman, but you have to wonder if it's a bit too late.
I don't know. I mean, if he can keep turning, multiple tenths faster every lap, I mean, I think he could do it. It's just going to be real close. I mean, like I always say, it's one thing to catch someone, another thing completely to pass. Especially at this racetrack. We're seeing these guys get so many opportunities to cross over or even make runs on the high side.
Still watching Wayne Grossi as well, who's up in the top 5. Wayne Grossi is not somebody we see in the top 5 all too frequently, and he is still battling for a podium position as well with David Phillips II, who you can see just up in front. I mean, Wayne Grossi is one of those guys you'll typically see maybe up into the top 10, but usually just outside of the top 10 or further down the order. Very rarely do we ever see him up in the top 5 here, so he is having a great day tonight, and with the way he's been running, he's got a chance to get a podium yet tonight.
He definitely does. I mean, I know he's a very good plate racer. We saw that whenever we were at Talladega for sure. But, I mean, to see him here at Texas, this is a very difficult 1.5 miles. I mean, a lot of people, detest this racetrack. I mean, but, they, like earlier when we were, I do believe we were talking to Noah Bitts. I mean, he said that, this is actually pretty fun. I mean, maybe they've made some changes, to the package here that really has helped these cars get around this racetrack. And it seems like Wayne Grossi definitely benefiting from it.
On top of that, you have Travis Manning cutting through this order, too. Now, Manning is on fresh tires because he got collected in one of those incidents earlier on. But he is still trying to work on getting his way back up through the field here, and it has not been an easy run for Travis Manning. He was right up in the thick of this thing. You see Levine dropping back as well. That 19 car still struggling. He just lost out on the top 5 spot to Kenny Powell. I tell you what, Levine's chances of a win were all but shot as soon as he hit that outside wall.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm definitely thinking he's kicking himself there for sure. But, I mean, what an intense battle that was. But I do believe that was John Mullins. I mean, those guys were not racing each other very easily, that's for sure. It seemed like maybe a little animosity there between those two. So could very well have been why that ended up like it was with Levine hitting the wall. I mean, it looked like they were pinching each other down and all kinds of stuff. Racing very hard, like you kind of said earlier. It's not the last lap, And I think you're kind of right here. I feel like, we saw Troy Torgerson really starting to catch up to Clayton Hoffman. I mean, he still is somewhat catching up here, but I don't know. Clayton last time by ran a little bit quicker. Actually, that's kind of a missed thing. It says he ran a 22nd lap. I think Clayton may be blinking.
It's an interesting one. I know the last time was a 30.876 for Clayton Hoffman, so it was actually a little bit quicker than Troy Torgerson. So I think Clayton Hoffman has got this one pretty well secure, so long as he doesn't make any major mistakes throughout the course of the night. It's still a question, though, in this midfield as to who can make it. I know Levine and Schmallenberg have just been battling quite a bit the last little while, and it's at the point where I wonder how much is Levine actually holding up these guys, because once they get past just Levine, they're gone. They just rock it away. It's just Levine that's keeping this pack together at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I mean, Levine's just struggling so badly, but he's such a good racer. He knows racecraft and how to keep guys behind him, and that's been working at the detriment for these other guys. I mean, they definitely have not been having a good time because of it, but Also, we got to keep in mind Clayton Hoffman. I mean, you said that G&G and Frontline kind of have a little bit of a, a little bit of a rivalry. Well, Travis Manning's starting to come up here on Clayton.
Oh, and Battle really sideways out of turn number 4. Kind of getting into it a little bit more. Kenny Powell dropping back from P5 as well, right into the clutches here. I wonder if he got into the wall down that back straight. That would explain why he's back here so quick now. But look at the speed that Kenny Powell is losing now. As Schmallenberg going to work his way back up into 5th place.
Wow. I mean, he definitely seems like he must have hit the wall. I see some crinkling on that right front, so I definitely think that something definitely happened there. As we see John Ballew trying to get around Justin Levine on the top side. Looks like he's got a good run right now. Yeah, Kenny, something's wrong with Kenny's car. He is definitely struggling right now and might lose multiple positions here. Ooh.
Big contact with Levine and John Ballew. You saw it out of turn number 2. They got into it big time. Levine slid to the inside, managed to recover it, but it was a risky move. And Levine in that 19 car still struggling with Brian Littleton as he tries to keep her going. Yet another position down. I don't think I would ever see the day when it would be Levine struggling to just stay in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I feel real bad for him. I mean, he still is, shockingly, the top playoff driver right now. So, still not the worst thing that could ever happen to him. But, I mean, the closer he finishes to the front, I mean, winning this race would mean so much. I mean, he'd lock him in. And it just does not seem to be going that way as we see Travis Manning able to make his way around Clayton Hoffman. Clayton Hoffman is still the leader. Now Troy Torgerson, now 3 seconds the gap. But I think it is a little too late. I think because 10 laps to go next time by.
And Brian Littleton still working to keeping Justin Levine at bay, just in behind. Levine trying to keep Roy High behind him. Corey Cook calling out that he is pitting in this time by. So Corey Cook cannot make it to the end of this race. Pitted in from P13 with under 10 laps to go.
It's definitely pretty shocking that, some of these guys, maybe I think on that caution, some guys gambled and didn't take gas, didn't pit. And I think that's what we're really seeing here right now. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and this time it did not work for those guys like Corey Cook. I mean, has had a fast race car. Maybe not the best handling race car, but definitely has been fast, so that's unfortunate for him. And one race I'm really watching here that could develop to be pretty interesting here, David Phillips and Wayne Grossi. I want to see if Wayne Grossi can get this podium. And if David Phillips gets this podium, that's cool too. I mean, considering I don't think we've seen him get a podium finish, and he's one of the newer drivers too, which is very interesting when you see these guys, just show up and are able to do these kind of, have these kind of finishes.
Yeah. Yeah, David Phillips the second is one of those drivers who has never gotten a podium before in the series. As far as I'm aware of, I know Wayne Grossi, as far as I know, hasn't been able to get a podium in a fuller field like this. He's been able to get 1 or 2, I believe, back when the field sizes were more limited. All the way back in Season 2. That has not been the case, though, so far here in Season number 4. And, for the later part of the Super Cup Series season. But Gross has been doing a phenomenal job today at working his way up to 4th. And that battle for 3rd, it still isn't over. One mistake from Phillips II, and he could easily lose out on 3rd place still.
100%. I mean, we're seeing him going a little bit higher. I mean, maybe that car is starting to suffer from a little bit of a tight condition. If Wayne Grossi can see that, figure out what to do here. Maybe, push David Phillips into the corner a little bit faster than he wants to go, something like that. The more that David Phillips looks in his rearview mirror and sees that yellow car, the more he might make a mistake.
Look at how much Grossi closes in 1 and 2. Turns 1 and 2 is definitely Wayne Grossi's strong points. There's the mistake from David Phillips II. Got a little bit loose through the center of the corner. Here comes Grossi trying to take a podium position away. I can't remember the last time I saw Grossi genuinely fighting for a podium position this far up the order, but I am all for it.
Yeah, and this could have unlocked a lot for him, in the coming seasons, or, he definitely seems like he's got a lot of speed. I mean, we've seen little hints of it in almost every race I've seen him. But, I mean, you know, tonight might be one of those things that unlocks something for him. And it's still not over. I mean, Phillips could still go in there. I mean, we've seen that plenty of times to where, you know, when you get by someone, when you're following them, it's easy to pass. But as soon as you get out in front, you don't have that other guy to judge yourself on, really. So you can easily make a mistake yourself. But we'll have to wait and see. Wayne Grossi starting to leave a little bit on David Phillips. I don't know, 1 and 2. Phillips starting to learn a little bit better here, getting a good run out of 2.
Sometimes you just need a partner to follow. I know I'm one of those drivers. I tend to be a lot quicker when I'm actually following somebody because I can actually track their line and learn a little bit more from them. I think that's what David Phillips II is trying to do right now. And they might have some lap traffic up the road that could play a factor in how this race plays out as well. You can see David Phillips II still working hard to try to see if he can maybe, just maybe, get that 3rd place back.
Well, I'll tell you one fight that has not calmed down very much here is Brian Littleton versus Kenny Powell. Kenny Powell trying to fight to stay in 7th. As Brian Littleton trying to shoot up the inside. He's going to get clear.
And that looks like it might work for Brian Littleton to get clear up in P number 7. Kenny Powell trying to fight the long way around.
And guess what? White flag is out.
Not quite.
Or it's about to be. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's about to be.
One more lap yet. Yeah, you and I, we made this there. Now we're even. I made the mistake, and then you made it right back.
There you go.
It will be the white flag, though, this time by. There will be no caution. This race will end under regulation time. Clayton Hoffman just rocketed away. It has just been absolutely phenomenal what he's been able to do so far. You know, throughout this race, he has been doing so well, you know, to be able to maintain that lead as long as he did. He took it away with force and has now maintained a gap of almost, if not over, 4 seconds the entire final run. So it will be Clayton Hoffman to come around turns 3 and 4, and he will win the Hooters 250 here at the Texas Motor Speedway. And just behind, Troy Torgerson, one of his first ever starts, will come home in P number 2. And how about Wayne Grossi to finish out the podium?
What a race. I mean, a lot of firsts here. Seeing Torgerson take home a 2nd place finish. I mean, that's got to be a win for that guy there. And Wayne Grossi, I mean, it's definitely a win for him to get this 3rd spot here. I mean, wow. Just what a race to watch. And I loved how strategy really came down, you know, in the end of it. I think that's what really changed this race so much. I love a good strategy race.
And that is the conclusion tonight here from the race. So we'll take a look over at the official post-race results. And we'll get to the driver interviews just after that. Clayton Hoffman takes victory by 4 seconds over the rest of the field. Wayne Grossi brings out the podium with Troy Torgerson up in 2nd place. David Phillips II is in 4th place with John Ballo in 5th. Paul Schmallenberg in 6th. Brian Littleton 7th. Kenny Powell in 8th. Roy Hyde in 9th. And Justin Levine rounds out the top 10.
11th is going to be Jeffrey Souza. 12th is Josh Ward. 13th, Mark Sanchez. 14th, Paul Regney. 15th, John Mullen. 16th, Corey Cook. 17th, Randy Drumhiller. 18th, Craig Johnson. 19th, Al Kelzowski. 20th, Kyle Labrie.
And that leaves Travis Manning, who brought his car down on the last lap of the race down pit road. Noah Bitts is in 22nd. Schaffner 23rd. Chandler 24th. With Brian Johnson and Jarrett Phillips to round out the 26-car field on the day. So, I was going to say to come on in here and give us a bit of a chit-chat tonight. We're going to kick things off with race winner Clayton Hoffman. And Clayton, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was going to be all front line up in front, but you took that lead away with force on the final restart.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get some good runs. There was 3 cars in front of us that did not take tires, so they only had, 6, maybe 5 or 6 laps on them. But that was enough to make a difference to where I could just kind of squeeze by them. And like I said, I had some good runs, was able to take advantage of while they kind of got the short end of the stick there. So got the lead. I was able to extend it pretty quick and kind of overdrove it for a little bit. So the lead kind of shrunk, but I was able to maintain it.
You come home at the end of this one, obviously, with a race victory, and this is looking good for your run in the regular Cup Series of the points with the race victory. Do you have any thoughts on what might be coming on up next for you in that season?
No, it's just same thing every week. Just go out there, try to get the best possible finish that I can. If I can go for a win, I'm going to go for the win, but you got to set yourself up for it. I was able to keep my car clean tonight, use some strategy that didn't give me good stage finishes, but it set me up perfect for a really good finish with that last caution.
And the next race, we head on over to Kansas Speedway. It's yet another 1.5 miles, but it's not nearly as wide as this one. I don't even think it's as fast as this one either. So what's your thoughts as we head back up to Kansas?
It's actually going to kind of play out similar. The track doesn't drive the same, but 1.5 miles with this package is pretty much a similar strategy, especially with the 75% fuel tank. It's going to come down to who does what and who takes tires when. If we have any cautions between the beginning of the second stage to the checkered, it could be a game changer if you save one extra set of tires.
And well, Clayton, as always, it's a pleasure to be able to get you on up here and be able to talk to you when we can. But before we let you go, who helps you to be quicker? That number 92 Gas and Go Chevrolet.
Shout out to team Gas and Go. Shout out to Brian. I know he worked pretty good on that qualifying set that got me started up there. I think I started 4th. Want to thank Hooters for sponsoring the race, ButtKicker for sponsoring the series, and thanks to you guys for broadcasting this.
Thank you, Clayton, for taking the time out of your evening and coming up here and join us. Ladies and gentlemen, your race winner, Clayton Hoffman, at the end of 167 laps at Texas. And that'll move us on down to the second place driver on the podium. And Brian, I'll hand you Troy Torgerson, who went 18 to finish out at second in one of his first ever starts with us.
Yeah, it's quite incredible, Troy. I mean, did you think you were going to just start out in the ISCA and be able to get a second place like that? I mean, especially, starting in 18th and driving all the way up to second.
Oh, no, Brian. We had a good run, and we screwed up the qualifying run and started in the back there, and so we were just riding around. And, like you said, it's my first night here. Had a really good time. There was some close racing, and, just happy to finally be able to get in here and race with you guys.
Well, you definitely showed a ton of speed out there on the racetrack, that's for sure. I mean, what was kind of some of the things you had to deal with out there on the racetrack? I mean, conditions-wise, were you getting tight? Were you getting loose? What were some things you had to keep in mind?
Later in the run, we were a little free. Had to kind of throttle it through the corners there, but we were really good on the 1-2, turn 1 and 2 in there, and was able to keep it, get some good drive off of 2, and that's where we made most of our passes tonight.
Well, definitely an important part of the racetrack, and excellent work. Do you feel like you're going to stick with the ISCA? Are we going to see you at Kansas?
Absolutely, man. I just had some other obligations I had to take care of and kind of cut those short a little bit, and I'm just happy to be able to be here and race with everybody.
100%. Well, a comparison with Texas and Kansas, what do you think is going to be different about that racetrack?
I think they made some changes to Kansas. I might have to, not sure yet, haven't done much laps in the Cup car, raced a truck race there last night, and there's a couple of different grooves there, and we were able to run pretty good, and, we got a top 5 out of that. So I like Kansas. I like the 1.5 miles, and we'll see what we can do with it.
100%. Maybe in your second start you could win, but after a second place finish, who are we shouting out for you tonight, Troy?
I'll give a shout out to Frontline Esports, all the guys, Justin and Travis and everybody associated with Frontline, man. They put a great setup on the car tonight. Very proud to run the Abruzzi race rare on the car. Looks really good out there, and I appreciate them taking me in, and both the team and the sponsorship. But yeah, thank you guys for putting on the show for us tonight. Don't know if I'll be able to go back and watch it. I don't know how the Facebook Live works. I was watching some of the races live while it was happening, but and thanks for ISCA for allowing me in and to race with these guys. And I guess ButtKicker sponsors this series. So.
Well, I will inform you that they are on YouTube and Twitch too. So if you just look up ISCA Racing, you should be able to find it pretty easily. But we appreciate your time, and back to you, Nolan.
Thanks, guys.
That was the second place finisher, Troy Torgerson bringing it home at the end of the night. And that brings us up to a very surprise driver up there in third place, Wayne Grossi. I cannot remember the last time we were able to talk to you up on the podium, but it must feel good to be back.
Oh, definitely. Been a while.
Well, you bring it home at the end of the night, and you were, right there in the thick of it in all the chaos in that final restart after our second caution on the night. What was your, reaction to kind of all that, being right in the middle of it all?
I just know I had to the best I could to stay out of trouble there. I eventually just let a couple of guys go by me, and came at them later.
And then, of course, you take a look at how Kansas is in the mix of things. It's definitely an interesting track, to say the very least. It was an exciting race the last time we were there. Do you think it might be the same when we come around here in just 1 week's time?
Yeah, very similar, 1.5 miles. I think that I think turn 1 here is kind of similar to what I think the corners are at Kansas, from what I recall. So hopefully we have a close setup already.
Well, fingers crossed that you'll have that close setup and be able to potentially get a good finish over at Kansas as well. You've proven that you've got what it takes to be right up there with some of the better drivers in the series by finishing on the podium here tonight. But before I let you go, Wayne, is there anybody you'd like to shout out for that number 7 machine?
Well, thanks to you guys in the booth. I enjoy watching this after the race, so thanks to you guys. Thanks to ButtKicker for sponsoring the league. Thanks to Kenny Powell and the admins of the league for all the work they do. Thanks to Wayne Grossi Racing, the team there. Bobby Terrell helps me a lot with the setup, so shout out to him. So that's it.
And, well, thank you for Wayne to be able to take the time of here and join us. And huge congratulations on the third place finish tonight. And wishing you the best of luck going into the next few races.
Thanks a lot.
So that will wrap out the drivers at the end of the night. And, Brian, that just about closes out our broadcast as well. But, I mean, you take a look at what it's supposed to be like at Kansas Speedway next week. And if Texas is anything to go by, and Kansas should be a wild one.
100%. I mean, just looking at this race here tonight, I mean, lots of drama, lots of craziness going out on the racetrack, and a lot for us to talk about, so I'm looking forward to it.
I have to say, I'm looking forward to it as well. And if you like the race today, then definitely be sure to, give the like on the Facebook page as well as on YouTube. And give a subscribe as well to the YouTube page as well as on Twitch if you haven't already. I mean, this is the kind of racing you can expect week in, week out. You're not going to want to miss it, especially with such an exciting finale coming on up in the Super Cup Series season. But for now, from Texas, we're going to have to close things out. I'm in Olorempo with Brian Britt beside me in the broadcast booth. Rob Meldick doing a great job, as always, down behind the cameras for tonight's race. Thank you all for joining us for more Thursday Night Racing for the Hooters 250 here at the Texas Motor Speedway. We'll see you back next week at Kansas.